My name is Tina Perreault, and I am the treasurer here at the Sunshine Coast Regional District, and I'd like to welcome you to the 2016 budget summary after round one. So we concluded our meetings on February the 10th, and today what we're going to be covering is a little introduction of a regional district, how we deliver our services, and the geographical area that we cover, the budget process itself, the budget figures, a little bit about assessments in the region for 2016, 2016 taxation and fees. We'll go over some of the projects that are being presented and have already been approved, and we'll take any questions or information at the end. So the Sunshine Coast has over 28,000 residents and is a federation of 3 municipalities and 5 rural areas. We provide over 45 distinct services for residents, and it's important to understand what the regional doesn't do. We don't do our own roads in the rural areas, and we don't provide policing services. Our service delivery is that it's important to note that people will only pay for those services that are provided to them. Services can be delivered in any combination to an electoral area or a member municipality. It's important also to note that the regional district is not its own taxing jurisdiction. So member municipalities collect taxes on behalf of the regional district within the municipalities, and the rural areas pay to the surveyor. Services can also be delivered via contract or through third party. So the types of services that the regional district provides can be regional of nature, things like solid waste emergency services or 911. They can be localized services, meaning that they are just provided to specific geographical areas. And those are things like refuse collection, fire protection, water and wastewater. Some examples of discretionary local services would be recreation, libraries, and street lighting. The regional district's budget process begins with the board's strategic plan. That is where they create their goals and objectives for their upcoming term. The board's strategic plan was adopted July of 2015, and it also has identified some key strategic directions. So the next item that flows out of that is departments will create work plans and initiatives to align with the strategic plan, and then they prepare for the budget proposals. There are 2 rounds of budget, and final adoption occurs at the end of March. We then will provide variance reports to the board quarterly, and strategic plan will be updated also mid-year. The 2016 timeline is that we have 2 rounds of budget in February and March. It's important to note that one of the key strategic objectives was to create an integrated 5-year plan, and that was adopted in January of this year. What that does is takes the 16 key guiding documents of the organization and blends them into a plan for the next 5 years. Then we will be doing our strategic plan review now till the mid-year. We'll be doing variance reporting, and we'll be preparing for the 2017 budget in the fall as it approaches into September, October, where we present again to the board in November of each year. This year, budget proposals were aligned to match the key strategic directions of the board. So the senior leadership team this year, in order to assist the board with making decision criteria, created some budget proposal criteria. First was mandatory, and we've had this criteria before. So this means things that we have imminent asset failure, things that we must do in order to meet regulatory compliance, and will meet core and business operational needs. Also, whether or not a project was identified specifically in the strategic plan, like the Regional Economic Development MOU, whether or not it's identified in the 5-year service plan, and whether or not a project is of low cost and high value. So those would be small projects that would be funded through surplus and wouldn't have any impact to taxation or any resourcing implications. And then the last criteria is really other, so projects that really didn't fit within any of these frameworks. So some of the key items impacting the 2016 budget. First, we had some internal processes that the SCRD is currently undertaking. We are doing a comprehensive software upgrade. We are improving our land management and financial system, and this is to enable more public interface to improve customer service. So people will be able to pay online and self-serve on the regional district, and that will be going live sometime in the next couple of months, and it will be called My SCRD. The asset management plan is continuing on, and we're trying to centralize our facilities maintenance department, continuing to do a detailed data collection and risk assessment of all our assets. And we're going to be implementing an enterprise asset and maintenance management system as well. We have a few internal service reviews underway with Dakota Ridge, cemeteries, and bicycle and walking paths. And those are to make sure that Dakota Ridge is not impacting our watershed, that cemeteries, we're making sure that our user fees are aligned with the services provided, and the type of funding that's provided for bicycle and walking paths, whether or not it's appropriate through gas tax. We also are undertaking developing service plans for the organization for the different services we provide. Some items that are impacting budget as it relates to taxation is the collective agreement was just newly ratified, and it's for 2016 to 2019, and it has a range between 1% to 2% in the 4-year period. Transit this year in 2015 incurred a significant deficit due to some changing from provincial funding, and we also had some inventory write-off impacts because we had a fleet upgrade with our buses that also impacted our inventory we had. So that has impacted the service by $130,000 that will need to be recovered in 2016. We also have the Regional Economic Development Charter Agreement through the municipalities in rural areas, and that is being proposed in the amount of $300,000, and the estimated apportionment to the rural areas is about $155,000, but that's still under review. So the regional district currently has a proposed budget of over $50 million. This is one of our larger budgets in several years since we constructed the new recreation facilities back in 2006 and 2007. So our operating budget is a little over $35 million, with the largest components in recreation and culture and the infrastructure departments, and that includes water, wastewater, environmental services, and transportation. Our capital budget is a little over $15 million, and the majority of that includes 2 projects for the water department. And we'll talk a little bit more about those later. Assessments in the region have gone up overall, and in the fall of 2015, it was anticipated that we would have significant decrease in assessments as a result to the closure for the Howe Sound Pulp and Paper Mill in Area F in West Howe Sound. Now, what has happened is we have consequently learned that there have been some positive impacts to areas like the utility services for independent power projects like Box Canyon coming online, and also some improvements to managed forest lands that has mitigated those impacts. So the impact to residents and all business classes has been less so than we anticipated, which is a good news story. So overall taxation after round 1 looks just under 1% at 0.81%. The residential impact is different for each specific areas. So for Area A, it is at a negative 0.44% over 2015. And it's important to understand that the regional district's portion of the taxation for Area A is about 33%. And this is for presentation purposes only. So this estimates a $400,000 average home. For Area B, we're looking at a negative 2.49% taxation impact to residents. And the SCRD portion of their bill is about 47%. For Area D, Roberts Creek, they're at a negative 3.97% over 2015 after round 1. And the approximate SCRD portion of their tax bill is about 48%. For Area E, they're at negative 0.16%, so that's quite a small decrease, and they're about 47% of the SCRD tax of their tax bill. For Area F, West Howe Sound, they're down 1.76%, and the SCRD portion is about 47% as well. For the District of Sechelt, the average residential change for the SCRD portion is down 2.27%, and the SCRD component of the tax bill is about 18%. For the town of Gibsons, it's down 3.37%, and it's about 28% for the regional district portion. And the Sechelt Indian Government District is up 5.7% and about 20% of the tax bill. And that's because they have seen some significant increases to some of their residential assessments. So parcel taxes and user fees are also something that needs to be considered, as they're collected differently, not through the tax bill, but billed directly. So regional water is up overall about just under 5%, so the total impact to a household is about $12.48. North and South Pender are up 4%, with a little over $20 and $25 increase to residents there. Community recreation and Pender Harbor Pool parcel taxes have remained the same. Refuse collection has gone up about 3% over 2015. And that is to just make sure that we are funding the contracts that have just been renewed. So highlights of some new projects for this year. Ports has Gambier float replacement and some dock and maintenance repairs. Environmental Services has several different capital and operating projects. And some of the keynotes are that the Pender Harbor Transfer Station is being commissioned and is operational now, so we have to plan for that. And we have some landfill upgrades to software and programs that align with the Solid Waste Master Plan. Utility Services, as noted before, has the largest amount of capital project, the two being the Chapman Lake Access Expansion Program and the Universal Metering for Phase 2. And those two are just over $10 million itself. We're also doing some energy upgrades, and there's over $1 million of just regular capital maintenance upgrades. North and South Pender have a few improvements to Potts Lane and Pool Road at North Pender Harbor, and there's another couple of air release automation, and we're going to be doing a water rate study in both North Pender and South Pender. In planning and development, the largest project is the Regional Economic Development MOU, which is currently under development. In recreation and culture, we have a lot of changes to libraries and museums to increase in operating, and as well some upgrades to the Gibsons Library building. Currently the roof is being repaired, so that is currently underway. Parks has a Cooper's Green Hall and park design plans, some park furniture replacement. The expansion of the Suncoaster Trail planning project is underway, and a few other safety requirements for parks upgrades. So the staffing plan for 2016 is down slightly over 2015, and that is due to a few different changes in some of the departments. So some decisions coming for round two. The fire departments still have a meeting coming in March that will decide what will be coming forward to the budget to align those services within the whole organization. Regional solid waste, we are still planning on the green waste drop-off facility contract and some waste reduction initiative program. Just the finalization of the Chapman Lake expansion project and groundwater investigation, and that's to align a resource plan for the Regional Water Services Department. And community recreation. The Gibsons Pool hot tub is currently undergoing a public engagement process, and the lighting upgrade for the Gibsons and District Community Center is also on hold till round two until we understand all the impacts of the capital projects for those facilities. The Pender Harbor Pool tank is also coming to round two, and the Grantham Hall renovation. And of course, all budgets are coming for finalization of budget adoption. Lastly, I wanted to cover the Sunshine Coast Regional Hospital District, which is still underway for the renovation project, and that's over a $45 million project. And the renovation phase is about 5.2, which will commence in 2016. The Regional Hospital District is also contributing just over $548,000 towards a closed loop medication system, and that's an ongoing project from 2015. And it continues to fund $240,000 annually towards minor capital equipment for the hospital. So taxation for 2016 provisional budget looked like it was going to be lower than 2015, and that's as a result of reduced debt payments from prior capital projects. So that concludes my presentation, and if you want any further information or details regarding the budget, it can be found on our website at scrd.ca/budget. And if you'd like to provide any feedback, you can also do that on our website as well, and you can always call us and meet with staff at any time, and we welcome you to do that. Thank you.